Hello all, Stacey the Black Feather Intuitive, and of course my my ever faithful co-host Neo is coming up to say hello. You know, it's like clockwork. I sit down to do work and right away he's like, "Oh, you're busy? Let me give you love now because I've had all afternoon to give you love, but I've really not cared so much. But now because you're busy and you need to focus, I'm going to be all up in your business. And I'm going to leave tons of cat hair so that you're picking at your face all day." But you know what? He's such a beauty. He's just such a sweetheart. So we're just going to accept the love. Look at that face. And that's the thing. He's not even showing you his face most of the time. You're getting cat butt in the face rather than his beautiful face. But yes, okay, we'll take it. So how's everyone doing tonight? I'm so excited to be doing the third of 5 tarot, wine, and Phoenix wisdom events. And I hope you have been enjoying this. If you are, tuning in and you've been with the first 2, hope you've really been enjoying it. It's been really a lot of fun for me to do. I do readings. Obviously, I'm a psychic intuitive, and many of you have connected with me in that way. But I'm also kind of a teacher at heart. And I think that's why I love to create things. I love to pass on knowledge and information. And I don't really get a whole lot of opportunity to do that, believe it or not, in the work that I do. Because most people who are calling me up, they're calling me up because they're, wanting guidance. They're wanting to get in on the sort of the nitty gritty in their lives. And I love doing that. Don't get me wrong. But every once in a while, peppering in an opportunity to pass on knowledge and information is really exciting to me. So thank you all for that. For those of you who are just tuning in for the first time, don't panic. Even though I've said this is the third of 5, you can go back and watch the replay of the first and the second evenings. They were on Monday, September 25th and Tuesday, September 26th, respectively, on my YouTube channel, The Black Feather Intuitive. Obviously, you know where you're at because you're watching it. We went through the phases that we've gone through. Is we touched on the Phoenix burning phase in our first episode. And in the second episode, which is last night, we did the Phoenix growing phase. And tonight, well, I'm not going to reveal it quite yet. But tonight we've got our third phase of 5 Phoenix phases. And we're going to talk a little bit about the Phoenix. Okay, so I love you. And Mama really does have to work.
Well, also the best thing about phase 3 is guess who's here tonight? Keone.
Tonight. So we had Hakeem joining us the first 2 nights, and he's more introverted, right? So he likes to stay in the background and kind of mind his own business. And, he doesn't really want to have to, but he doesn't want to have to engage others, right? So this is exciting to have you, Keone, and you've not seen this side of me before, so this is going to be new for you.
Well, we're not going to talk about what sides I've seen of you in public, okay? Let's just move on with the show.
You're so funny. All right, so without further ado, I'm going to move along here. And for those of you who are just tuning in for the first time, this is scripted. Like, I've written out a lot of the information. And I mean, I go a little bit off script because that's just me. But it is mostly scripted. So you might see me occasionally. It looks like my eyes are reading something. It's because I really am reading something. But it's because I wanted to make sure that I didn't miss out on anything and that I don't get in the weeds with all of my my nonsense and shenaniganery, because sometimes that can happen. So I'm going to flip over to the script here, and really excited to share some cool information about 3 of my favorite subjects: tarot, wine, and my favorite mythical bird, the Phoenix. So let's get to it. Last night, we learned about the Phoenix growing phase and enjoyed exploring a red Grenache or Garnacha and a white Viognier as supportive experiences to embody the Hanged One card. Over the next 3 sessions, we're going to continue the Phoenix journey and explore why it is truly such a powerful mascot for our own humanity, especially in the chaos and disruption of the world right now. We are going to continue to explore each of the Phoenix phases. And we're going to, these are the phases that we are all constantly going through at some point in one form or another. And we're going to explore tonight as well how specific tarot cards can help support us through these phases. We're going to have the most amazing fun pairing some wine with each of the cards that we explore today. We're actually only exploring one card, but I have multiple versions of the same card. And this is going to give you a completely fresh, unique perspective, not only on the cards, but also on your inner phoenix, so that you can get to know your inner phoenix a bit better. And like I said, if you missed last night's event, feel free to watch the replay on my YouTube channel to get caught up. So tonight, you want to grab either a Syrah or a Shiraz if you're a red wine lover. And if you're a white wine lover, you're going to want to grab a Riesling. And as I like to say, don't drink it all too soon. And let's begin. Let's explore some of this information. So what's the deal with the phoenix? To paraphrase, what's the deal with that mythical bird that spontaneously combusts? Why do I talk about it all the time? Why is this important to each and every single human? Because we are always in a state of change, life, death, and rebirth. This is the cycle of the phoenix, the cycle of life. It is the key to our self-awareness and ascension. And for a more detailed explanation, check out the first event, or you can watch my Rise from the Ashes, Explore the 5 Phoenix Phases and Transform Your Life video on YouTube. For tonight's purposes, here is how I understand transformation. There are 5 phases of the phoenix: burning, growing. Tonight we're exploring emerging. Then we have rising and soaring. Tonight we're talking about the phoenix emerging. So grab your glasses and let's get ready to do some tasting. So this phase 3, this is the phoenix leaving the womb and entering the birth canal for their journey into the next adventure. It's hot, sticky, crampy, and sometimes claustrophobic. There is work required to move forward toward the light at the end of the canal. But there is a light, a vision that becomes a new direction. It gives purpose to the effort. This is emergence. And so when we were talking about phoenix growing last night, we were talking about it in the womb. And there's really not a whole lot that you can do in the womb other than to surrender and receive. You don't have vision. And that's why, because you got to surrender, because you can try and bulldoze and push through, but there's nothing to push through to. Well, now with phoenix emerging, there is a vision. And it's not a full, complete vision. You don't necessarily know what it's all about, the complete outcome, but you do have a vision to work towards. And that is the emergence. So you have explored new thoughts, new possibilities within the mind, and perhaps even in the physical, and you've outgrown the womb. You are ready to move to a larger platform with which to carry out your plans in a grander, more tangible way. You feel creative urgings, but may not necessarily have clarity around what purpose these creative ideas serve. There is always a hint of a vision, but it is still partially hidden from view. You must make the effort to get closer to reveal it fully. Hopefulness, inspiration, creativity, and motivation can be commonly experienced during this emerging phase. Create for creation's sake and allow the creation process to unfold organically. So you've outgrown the womb, and a little voice, I always say it's kind of the angels that are talking to you in the womb, points out that, hey, did you happen to see that there's a little light at the end of the tunnel? And it looks really cool. And you think to yourself, ooh, that looks fun. That's exciting, considering I've been in this little cocoon or this womb for some time. I haven't seen the light of day. I haven't really had a whole lot of motivation. Oh yeah, this sounds really good. And so you don't really know. The light at the end of the tunnel is inspiration. It's the vision, but you don't really know exactly how you're going to get there or how it's going to come through, but you definitely now have a goal. And so the phoenix emerging is that birth canal. And nobody tells you that it's icky and sticky and ooey and gooey and crampy and it's tight. And sometimes there's light and sometimes they're just dark. And man, oh man, this is really difficult. And you know what? I want my money back. And then you find out, wait a second, it's a one-way ticket. So you cry and whine and say, I'd rather be in the womb. And they're like, just keep on going. And you're like, all right, I got no choice. I'll just keep on moving on. So the Phoenix emerging phase is the phase that has some inspiration, but it also is the phase that has a lot of push pull. 3 steps forward, 2 steps back kind of stuff. You don't necessarily know until you're in it how much work it is to get to the light at the end of the tunnel. And it is work. There is effort involved. So the tarot card for this phase is, it is all about coming to the end of one journey and being given the chance to choose whether to go another round with the current lesson or to move into a new cycle or a new lesson. It is an opportunity to level up your frequency and consciousness, to choose who you are becoming and acknowledge the excitement that comes from being a creator of your own destiny. I'm going to say that one more time. This is an opportunity to level up your frequency and your consciousness, higher conscious awareness, to choose who you are becoming and acknowledge the excitement that comes from being a creator of your own destiny. There's power in this emerging phase. An element of release is present here, as letting go of your old identity is required for rebirth into a new version of yourself. As with many things, there is a universal price. The gratitude and appreciation for your creation comes when you have some skin in the game. It's not a victory unless you've worked for it. So I'm just going to take a couple of seconds here to quickly talk about, this is the Rider-Waite-Smith original tarot depiction. And as you can see here, this card gets easily misunderstood because a lot of people always see the coffins and they get freaked out. Oh my God, there's coffins and bodies coming out of the coffins. And that's a little creepy and morbid. What it's saying basically is, it's one of only 3 cards in the major arcana that has an angel depicted on it. The angel's coming out with the trumpet to say, hey, you've gone through a lot of stuff. You've kind of come out of the worst of it. Do you still want to kind of stay in the coffin and rest a little bit? Do you want to kind of go back and revisit that lesson? Or are you ready for a new life, a new opportunity, a new way to become and to explore? Are you ready to continue the adventure? So the fact that they're coming out of the coffin symbolizes that phoenix burning that we talked about in our first event. They burned into a pile of ash. Their old identity is dead, done, and gone, never to return. They rested a while in the phoenix growing, and now they've all got their arms outstretched and they're saying, yeah, I'm ready. Let's do this. Let's move on to the next. They don't necessarily know what's coming next. They just have trust and faith in source that, okay, it's another new adventure. I survived this one, so it's very likely that I'm going to survive the next one. And it's a lot better than sitting in this coffin doing nothing. So there's a lot of energy with this judgment card. So I'm going to continue to show you different iterations of the card here as I start talking about the wine. But for now, I wanted to really present that because there are just so many misunderstandings around what the judgment card really is about. And it's discernment, but it's also decisions, making decisions. So it really fits well with what we're talking about right now with that phoenix emerging. So, all right, grab your glass. As you're tasting, see what you experience through these questions. And of course, feel free to put any of your observations or your experiences in the comments. I love to see that. Any questions that you have, feel free to put that in. Keone, I forgot to mention to you, because I'm on script, I'm not actually seeing what's going on the screen. So if I do get, if someone submits a question, just kind of give me a shout out because I'm not going to see it otherwise.
So basically, you just want me to do my job?
Is that your job? I don't want to be bossy, but I'm glad that it's your job. I don't even know what your job is. I just figure you're running the back stuff for me, which is, I'm so grateful for that, right? Because I have no freaking clue when it comes to the tech. Oh, okay. So tonight I am drinking a really delicious Shiraz, and I'm not going to lie, I've already kind of tasted a little bit of it tonight. I love to drink when I cook, and I cooked tonight, so I had about a half a glass, maybe an hour or so ago. Anyway, this is called the Perfect Number 6. It's a 2020 Shiraz. And you guys know I'm a red wine girl. On occasion, I'll drink a white wine, but typically it's red wine or bust. So I'm going to do all of this using the red wine, but I will also talk about the white wine varietal if you happen to be engaging in a little Riesling. So as you raise the glass to your nose and inhale, what visions come into your mind first? Can you smell a whiff of past or old world elements within the wine? So as I'm raising my glass, oh, he is just extra today. He's been extra all week. All right, so visions. So the first thing I'm getting is this is going to sound so cheesy, but I'm seeing myself in an old world, like on a meadow in an old world sort of Tuscan village. I feel like my hands are in the dirt. I feel like I'm planting seeds. I actually feel like I'm tapping into a past life here, which is kind of interesting, a little bit cool. I'm also, I'm getting ahead of myself here, but can you smell a whiff of past or old world elements within the wine? I'm smelling cigar. And cigar always brings me, puts me in mind of my grandfather. We called him Biba or the Beeb. And it's not like he smoked cigars all the time, but when he did smoke a cigar on occasion, it always had almost like a cherry scent involved. Okay, you need to go. Thank you. So it always had sort of a cherry scent or a cherry flavor. And I'm smelling that. I'm smelling cigar mixed with a little bit of the sweet fruit. And I'm feeling a sense of urgency in the fact that I'm sort of planting seeds or hands in the dirt. It's like I'm digging for something in particular. So there's a sense of urgency in what I'm sort of visioning right now. And that could just be simply because I'm an A-type and everything has a particular sense of urgency with me. But that's kind of the old world, is that I'm trying to get something done and get something in on a time frame or a time limit before something else happens. Can you detect any elements of fresh or new within the inhale? I'm feeling like I'm definitely smelling that cherry again. I'm also smelling, this is weird because there would never be apple in red wine or a drier red wine, but I'm smelling a little bit of apple in this. And I'm feeling like it's almost like things left undone. So when we think about fresh and new, it's like the baby, where you don't have expectations of the baby. The baby is new and they're, going to sort of explore the world or explore what they're, looking at in that moment. But there is a sense of they don't really have a rule book or a manual to go by. They're just kind of going based on instinct. So I'm feeling that there's a sense of instinct in here. I don't know what that has to do with apples, but that's what I'm feeling. And on that point, when you're doing this kind of tasting as well, don't judge yourself. Whatever is coming through comes through. It's just like I say when you're exploring your psychic abilities. If we judge, we stop the flow of the intuition. So just have fun with this. I find it fascinating to see what actually comes up and comes through and comes out, comes to the surface when we're doing this kind of work. So it's really cool. All right, now it's time to look at the legs. Swirl the wine in the glass. Notice the color and the viscosity. Again, our wine legs and color will give you a clue into the intensity and overall effect of what you might be emerging into. and the quality of powerful choice potential during this phase. So as I am swirling, first of all, the color is beautiful. It's dark and solid. You're not seeing through it with the light until you move it around, and it's not as dense. And there's just a gorgeous cherry red. So a lot of cherry in this. And what do we say about cherries? Life is like a bowl of cherries. It's sweet and delicious, but you also get pits. Well, isn't that really fitting for an emerging cycle? You take the good with the bad, or you take the comfortable with the uncomfortable, right? So with the legs, this is actually a very strong, very, I want to say a very solid, thicker, viscous wine. And so the legs are holding, the ring around the glass is solid and substantial, but the legs, I want to say, have a little more movement and a little less predictability. I don't know if you guys can see that in the swirl of the glass, but like up here, I'm noticing that there are some tinier legs that are coming after the fact. And we've got some of these longer legs over on the other side here. So there's no predictability. And when we're talking about that Phoenix emerging phase, there really isn't a whole lot of predictability, which is why it's important to really just kind of be in the flow. Store up what you need to store up before you're ready to launch. There's a lot of contraction with the Phoenix emerging phase, but then there's also a lot of ground gained. And that's what I'm seeing in the legs here is you've got some legs that are moving quicker, some legs that are taking their time. And overall, the wine itself has some staying power. So it says there's something to this. I need to just keep at it. I need to keep putting the work in because there's substance here. I just need to find it. I need to lay foundation for that substance. So this, the quality of powerful choice potential during this phase, it's choosing to say, all right, I'm going to keep going. So what can you learn from this? Keep going. So examine your glass and take note of what you get intuitively around this phase for you. And now we're going to take a sip. So the first question is, what does choice taste like? Well, choice tastes fun. Choice hits me in the sides of the palate. And I feel like it's kind of like, I always quote movies, Indiana Jones, choose, but choose wisely. I have two equal choices that I can make. I can make the choice to move forward, or I can make the choice to stay put. There's no right or wrong. The judgment is what we place upon it. Judgment, right? Well, I should be showing you some of these cards as well. The judgment that we place upon it is human design. Like it's an ego thing to place judgment on it. But really, I definitely feel that there's a burst of flavor with that choice. So it's kind of like, okay, if I can't make a wrong choice, then I'm not afraid to make a choice at all. So maybe I'll just kind of keep on going. Is there a taste of rebirth? A confidence or determination that can be detected? Yeah, this wine the Shiraz is quite bold. So even though it's not as heavy a wine as some other varietals, I feel like there's definitely a confidence here. This wine says, I may not have it all together, but I have confidence in me. I have confidence in my determination. I have confidence in knowing that no matter what happens, I will survive and thrive, is what this kind of feels like.
Indu asks, is that a choice or desire?
Ooh, I love that as well. Okay, so let's talk about that. So with judgment, it's less about desire on the nose because you've just gone through a major sort of, transformation, and you're making the choice to say, do I need more work on this? Do I need one more time around the bend, or am I ready for the new adventure? It's not necessarily that they have desire to, because there's no clear vision. I would say desire comes in more when you've got the clear vision of what's coming up, which is the next couple of phases that we'll be talking about. So, not to say that you're wrong about desire, because there can absolutely be a desire to get outside of the coffin. It's like, okay, my desire is to be anywhere else but here. But I don't know if that is desire, or if that's sort of the what's that word I'm looking for? Like, I don't have any other choice, but given the choice between a shit sandwich and a less shitty sandwich, I'm going to take the less shitty sandwich, right? So I feel a little bit like that. But I love your question. I'm going to show you this card. So this is from the Light Seers Tarot, and you can see this judgment card looks very different from the traditional original depiction, in that there are no angels here necessarily, but it's like the inner dancer is coming out. And we can look at it in a couple of different ways. We can look at it and say, she's leaving the body and getting ready to fly free to find another life. Or we can say this beautiful ballerina is ready to be received. She's receiving this new life. She's choosing this new life and this new energy. When I look at this card, I definitely feel a little more desire in the mix. So I would say to you, from a traditional tarot perspective, not so much with the desire, but with this particular depiction, absolutely there's desire. And there's all this green, and green is all about the heart space. And what is it about the heart? It's our heart's desires. So I love that question, Indu. Thank you so much for asking that. That's awesome. I love it. So where does the wine first hit your palate? I told you guys that it hit me sort of on the sides, kind of in the middle of my palate. That's where I tasted it the most the first time. And now I can't say this is the second sip because I've had several now, but let's see where it hits me now. So it hits me in the back, hits me almost like in the back of the throat, spreads out, and I feel much more of the fruit energy. So what I'm going to interpret from that, or intuit from that, is when I keep going, the wine gets better. It gets better. So I feel like there's, with the emergence, we also need that reason to keep moving forward. And I feel like the Shiraz gives us that. So can you choose an area of the tongue that you prefer to experience the flavor of the wine? And does the wine give you a sense of hope? Because hope is another really important aspect of the Phoenix emerging. If we don't have hope, we're not really going to keep moving forward, because, as we said, this is the phase of the Phoenix, I would say, that requires the most work. It's the most where you're setting the intention, you're choosing to move forward. Phoenix burning, it happens for you. There may be some choice involved in sort of what it looks like, but ultimately the universe kind of takes care of it for you. Emergence is really, I got to choose this path, and choosing this path means I got some skin in the game. So does this particular wine give me a sense of hope? Absolutely. Ooh, and the glass is singing. I love that. There's hope, and there's also like there's like a little bit of a bite almost in the top back of my throat. It's not an unpleasant bite, but it's a reminder that not everything is going to come easily, but not everything that is enjoyable and filled with hope and worth working towards. That's what I feel like. What do they say? Nothing worth having, everything worth having is worth fighting for. I feel like that kind of energy with that sense of hope. So we've got the Syrah or the Shiraz, and here I'm going to talk to you about it, but I'm also going to show you some of these other cards. So Shiraz embodies the themes of choices, rebirth, phoenix emerging, and consciously letting go of the past, the old. That ties in with the original Judgment card. I have to leave the coffin behind. I have to leave my old body, my old concept of my own identity behind. And no, I don't know what that new version of myself is going to look like, but I have to be willing to take the risk. This red wine varietal is rich, bold, and exhibits flavors of dark fruits, pepper, and spices, and a deep, inky color. It symbolizes the transformative process of rebirth, reflecting the phoenix emerging from the ashes, choosing a new beginning, and embodies the act of consciously letting go of the past or the old, inviting individuals to release what no longer serves them, to embrace that new path. So when we're looking at this one here, this person has chosen, he's answering the call, or she's answering the call, and they're choosing the hope. They're choosing the rainbow. They're choosing the rainbow path, even though they don't know exactly where it's going to lead. They're choosing it, and they've got their back to us. So they're leaving the past behind. They're leaving what they know or have known up to this point. They're leaving it behind. Due to its ability to thrive in warmer, sunnier climates, as well as some cooler ones, it represents Judgment's emergence from whatever situation or circumstance you find yourself in. It encourages you to come as you are and embrace the boldness and intensity of a well-earned journey. That's really important too, because some of our phoenixes are big deals and some of our phoenixes are littler. They're smaller. They're reflective of one aspect of our life rather than a major component or a major I want to say level of our lives. And you want something, the Judgment card, you want the Judgment card to support you in whatever situation or circumstance it brings. You want Judgment to rise up to meet you wherever you're at. So that feels really important as well. So for the white wine pairing varietal, that is the Riesling. And the Riesling represents the themes of new life, new choices, and new frequency. This white wine varietal is aromatic, refreshing, and exhibits flavors of citrus, stone fruits, and floral notes. Earth energy based, this wine shares the characteristics of committing to a path through a decisive choice, much like the choice we make when we incarnate into these human bodies. When we commit to our life, we take on a determination that clears away any doubt for observers of your eventual success. While Judgment reflects a release of the past, it does not dismiss the wisdom that came from those experiences. Quality Riesling often has a scent. This is really interesting, guys. Wait till you hear this. I'm going to grab another card here.
While you're grabbing a card, Ragu says, hope and fate are interconnected.
I like that. So when you're looking at, for example, this one where we were seeing the rainbow is a symbol for hope. And I think it's interesting that it's fate and it's leading up to these beautiful spirit animals, spirit guides that are in the sky. So it's kind of like there is a certain level of fate that plays out in our lives from the perspective of talking about our divine blueprints. We all come in knowing that we're here for a certain reason or purpose. We've got a particular path or a particular lesson or particular themes that we want to explore. And so we have to lay foundation. You guys know I always talk about the blueprint in terms of building a house. You've got to have those foundational walls, those structural walls that can't move. But then the walls within can be moved around. You know, you can always make different choices in the middle of that. So I love that, Ragu, that you're pointing out that hope and faith, fate, hope and fate are tied in to one another. That makes a lot of sense. So this is a really cool tidbit of information about Riesling that I came across. I had no idea of this. And I've had tons of wine tastings and I know what a Riesling tastes like. And as a matter of fact, I was telling you about my grandfather, the Beeb, Biba, his favorite wine was Riesling. So I just made that connection now as we're talking. So here we go. Quality Riesling often has a scent of petrol within it. To wine newbies, this can be off-putting as they will dismiss the hard-earned process that went into its growth through adversity. But those who have been around a while on the adventure of life understand that the scent of petrol represents the wisdom earned and learned. Higher frequency consciousness application and appreciation are prevalent. Isn't that bizarre? And that's one of the things I love about, I want to say just about wine in general, is everybody experiences it differently. You smell different things, you taste different things. And who would have thunk that you would taste gas, right? Petrol is gas. Who would want to drink gas? And yet when you understand the where it comes from, the region it comes from, what was in the soil, and the depth that it goes to, and how it has to be processed out so that it can be healthy, and all of those things. It's very, very on point with our emerging phase. Riesling also embodies the freshness and vitality of new life, reflecting the emergence of new possibilities and experiences. As Riesling emerges year after year after year, it is a wonderful example of our life, death, and rebirth cycles. And so I really love that. Just going to show this here, the life, death, and rebirth cycles of life. We do this so many different times in our lives. We just don't always label it as such. We don't always land on that in quite that way, because when we're in it, we're just feeling it all. But judgment encourages us to live life as, I always talk about love as frequency, not as feeling. When we get caught up in the feels, we kind of lose sight of the overarching cycle and why it's all happening. So that's really, really cool. Awesome. So what a really fun way to see and use tarot as a transformative tool, as I like to say, for all of our rough stuff. And this is why I love the Phoenix so much, because we are constantly in some kind of birth, death, and rebirth cycle. And the Phoenix embodies that. So in my tarot community, Tarot Intuitively, Learn Tarot or Deepen Your Practice the Fun Way, we get to do this kind of stuff all the time. It's all about learning how to read tarot from your heart, from your soul, from your intuitive spaces, rather than all of the memory, the memorization of what comes up and what comes through. I'm looking at these cards, and sure, they're really pretty, but if I don't have it memorized, I might look at some of these cards and go, I don't even know what's going on. And then I get discouraged and I walk away. I put the cards down and I feel like I don't get any guidance. But when we're reading it intuitively and we're connecting it with different aspects of life, it suddenly becomes more palatable. It makes more sense. So one of the reasons why I chose this wine and tarot kind of concept is because I do something like that in this membership with our 3 of Cups gathering. And no, it's not all about the wine. It's really more about the tarot and the opportunity to ask questions about tarot and to really commune with one another. But it's really about the relaxed atmosphere and having a little fun and learning some interesting information that helps you overall to connect the dots, because we're so linear. We're so linear in the way that we approach the world and approach life. And you start to think, I have to memorize. It has to be hard work in order to understand, these 78 cards. And it doesn't. So in this membership, I also we do a Meet Your Monthly House Guest. So we have a particular card of the month that we focus on, and we get really deep with what that card is going to be about, what that card is teaching you. And I have curated and created a number of exercises to really help you, and card spreads, to help you connect with that card on a very deep, very personal level. Because, what might make sense to me might be completely confusing to you. I'll just give you an example. The color green. The color green for me may be connected to the heart chakra. I always talk about the heart chakra and healing. for you, green might actually bring up some kind of negative connotation. You might have a memory of something that whenever you see that particular color or shade of green, you get nervous. Well, there's a reason why that particular color or shade of green is showing up for you when you're looking at the tarot card. And as you get to know the card and build relationship with each of these cards, you also are able to sort of build up your own, I like to call it, it's almost like your soul dictionary, you know, the symbolism of your own soul and your own experiences. So we explore that. And then we also really dive into different archetypes for that month. And we do a complimentary house party, meet and greet the neighbors. House party is what it's called. So you're connecting with 4 other complimentary cards to the card of the month. And that helps to really speak directly to us through the cards with everyday themes and practical guidance. Because at the end of the day, what are we doing tarot cards for? It's fun, but we really want guidance. We want to know we're on the right path. We want to know what the hell is going on. What am I supposed to do with this? And so these exercises, and there's a reading involved in this as well, and spreads are all designed to give you that guidance and to build up your confidence as you're learning that. You're going to learn the traditional card meanings, and you're also going to learn intuitive meanings and what those meanings mean for you. And then, of course, we've got our Page of Swords Society. So many of my clients say to me, I feel so isolated. I feel so alone. I don't have a whole lot of people that I can talk to about my psychic seeings or leanings or visions or concepts or ideas. And I feel kind of crazy, or I feel like I'm on an island. Page of Swords Society solves that problem because you're with fellow tarot enthusiasts. There's no one in that society that is going to say, you're missing the mark, or what the heck are you talking about? You're all there together to learn and to share with one another your own tarot experiences. And of course, I'm in there like a dirty shirt to answer any questions that you have. And it's all to help you expand your mind, expand your experiences. So, join the Page of Swords Society, or just do it solo, whatever floats your boat. There's no right or wrong, but it's there. And it's an opportunity for you to make some friends as well, make some deeper connections. And of course, as a bonus, you always get access to my Black Feather community, home of the Gathering of the Phoenixes monthly event, where spiritually minded, like-hearted people connect and chat all things metaphysical, free to all who join. Would love to have you guys there. So be a founding member. Tarot Intuitively launches October 1st. Click on the link in the chat for the special offer and to join the wait list. The first 20 members of the Tarot Intuitively membership receive a special bonus gift. I would love for that gift to go to you. So I hope you've enjoyed tonight's event. It's such a pleasure to be able to connect and share this information. I love all this stuff, so I get enthusiastic about it and I'm a little passionate about it. And so it's fun to be able to connect with you and share that passion with you guys. Join me again tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, here on YouTube or Facebook for the 4th episode, number 4. And you're going to want to bring either a glass of Pinot Noir or an Albarino tomorrow. So, and that's if you want to fully submerge yourself in the experience. But of course, it's by no means a requirement. Thanks so much, guys. Have the most amazing night. Transform well, and we will see you next time.